My ex cheated on me and broke my heart, but it feels like my soulmate has slipped through my fingers. So for some background, before this relationship that is in the title, I was in a super toxic relationship the first 3 years while I was in college. It was really emotionally abusive towards me, and it got to the point where as soon as she had a couple drinks in her, even at places like public parties, she would then berate me in front of people for whatever random thing that bothered her about me that night. The gaslighting and emotional manipulation really fucked me up, constantly trying to understand why I was never enough and why I could never do anything right, and around my junior year I got to the point of planning to take my own life. I go absolutely off the rails for 6 months while taking my hardest classes for pre-med biology, where I honestly don't really remember much of that time because there wasn't a single second of a 24-hour day where I was sober during that time. I finally managed to patch myself up before the start of my senior year, and I was managing to be pretty happy with myself, getting to work on my cars and a new club that I started. I don't really know why I'm typing this out, but I can't take being in my own head anymore. I had actually met the girl in the title at the very beginning of my sophomore year while I was still dating Crazy Ex. She was my roommate's friend and she hung around for a couple days and we just instantly connected as friends over all our similarities, even though we both were in separate relationships at the time. Well, lo and behold, as fate would have it, she came and visited my roommates early in my senior year while we were both single, and after spending multiple nights up till 4 a.m. we kissed, and from there the nicest relationship I have ever been in started. She was literally my best friend in the whole world. We never fought, and we were always so communicative, like apologizing to one another after the fact if we realize we are in the wrong. She had her own mental health issues, and she lived 2.5 hours away because she was on a gap year because she couldn't handle the situation that COVID online school had put her in. She was working at home and we would regularly visit each other and have the time of our lives in each other's arms. It was the best in-bed experience throughout that either of us had really ever had. A year has passed, and fast forward to now, where I am in the darkest pit I've been in for a long time. I just graduated at the beginning of the summer and started working the 8 to 6 cubicle grind that feels like it will be the rest of my life. I had to move back home so that I can save some money to put towards student loans every month, as I plan to have them paid off entirely within 4 years. I'm also going back to school to get a master's in data science online so that I can really get to the pay I want to be able to buy some cars I always wanted as a kid. Coming out of school I was already extremely burnt out and I didn't really have a spark for life after college, and I am putting myself through even more, but I had the support of this girl behind me, literally just existing so I could smile as I thought about our relationship throughout the day and really genuinely could see myself with this person for good. She was always a bit more distant than relationships in the past because of her depression and ADHD combined with smoking weed 24/7, which I also pretty much do, so I can't say much, and she slept an insane amount. Once through my degree-specific graduation ceremony, which I was kinda butthurt about, lol, but it didn't really bother me as I'm more of an independent person and I actually felt much closer to her because of it, not being feeling mentally trapped by someone who wants to be in contact 24/7 with 8 million texts of constant filler small talk. My hometown is basically only residential houses and it's much more rural than where I went to college, and I don't really have anyone out here because I really don't have much in common with the general culture out here. And I don't really know where to even start to meet people my age I could be friends with since my office is mostly much older employees. But she would visit and I could care less. I was happy that I could possibly have someone as attractive and interesting and close as her as my so. 1 month ago she called me at midnight on a work night. We are now 4 hours apart because I'm living at home, and she unloaded that she had to talk to me and that she had kissed a co-worker at her restaurant the day before and that she didn't know where her feelings for me have gone, and she said that she can't be in a relationship because she is too immature and fucked up mentally and she can't trust herself, so she can't ask me to trust her. I was beyond devastated. I for some reason just wanted her to even try to reconcile or apologize for letting it get to this point where she could have easily talked to me and tried to do this amicably if she really loved me like I loved her. But she was dead honest and sparing me, watching her drift away if she really wasn't ready, which is something that I always loved about her. I couldn't take the pain. I stopped eating, I stopped being productive at work, I started being high every waking moment out of work again. I felt like I was worthless. I was literally thrown away. We had just come back from a trip that I felt like held memories of pure happiness that would last a lifetime. I couldn't do it anymore. I just wanted the cycle to end. Every day I woke up and my first thought was her betraying me in a way no one has ever betrayed me before. Especially with no prior signs whatsoever. I did however manage to get back on track a bit, and recovered a lot better than last time. feeling pretty much meh about life and just hoping secretly that I would die in some way that people wouldn't blame me for, so I wouldn't have to wake up and go about another bland day anymore, but knowing I can't do it myself because my co-signed loans would go to my dad and I can't leave him with that. She was in a terrible state herself, and her mom sent me multiple essay-length texts saying how disappointed they were in her and that she had really thought that I was the best individual for her daughter and how they only hoped that we could possibly reconcile in the future. She had told me that she was reduced to about the same state I was in, and after telling me that she didn't have someone she was running to and that she has asked to just be left alone entirely by all her friends and parents. We texted through this time sort of awkwardly, with my anger and true feelings for this whole situation bursting out at times and her only continually apologizing for her unforgivable actions and what it had done to me, and there were texts like, "Who knows what the future holds, I just physically can't trust myself and love myself right now and I can't ask someone else to," which made healing worse honestly, continually thinking about how I could possibly get to have her in my life once again. Someday, while she literally cheated on me and shattered my heart, and I felt like such a worthless little punk reducing myself to that. The worst part is she's going back to college and she could literally get anyone she wants, and I know she will be able to fill that void. Meanwhile I'm stuck in bumfuck nowhere with no way to meet people like in college. I feel like even if we were to reconcile in the future I would feel like a backup and I don't know how I'm going to trust her again. We keep talking every once in a while, checking up on each other, and she says she still wants to see me if I ever visit my friends at college, and honestly I think I would still consider taking her back if she even wanted me, which makes me feel worthless inside. And that's where I am now. I am working abroad for my company, which is a very nice break and all expenses paid, and I'm trying to force myself to go to bars and meet people, but I'm not very confident in the first place and am very insecure even though I'm pretty fit and people tell me I'm attractive. I still think about her daily, and I just really don't know if I'll ever meet someone like her again in my life. I can't cope, or rather I don't want to. I deleted Instagram though, which has impressively helped my mood a ton. I deleted her pics on my profile but she never deleted me from hers. Hope this helps someone. Next story 2. I repaired her heart but she destroyed mine with the man that broke her. For the first time I'm going to talk about the worst betrayal I've been through. Back in my university days, 2 years ago, post-COVID, I was drowning in loneliness. Between the pressures of school and personal family issues, I was spiraling into depression. That's when Fiona walked into my life. With her mesmerizing looks and a body that could make anyone's head turn, she was hard to ignore. But what really drew me in was her passion for painting. Our conversation started over her artwork, and soon, we were delving deep into our pasts. Fiona had a haunting past with her tales of cheating, verbal abuse, and sheer toxicity. Every story she shared made me wonder how someone could treat such a gem so poorly. I made it my mission to show her the love she deserved. She confided in me about her Muslim beliefs and how she felt dirty for being intimate with her ex. She wanted to wait until marriage with me, and I respected that. I was so smitten, I even started saving up to meet her parents and discuss our future. Fast forward a year, Fiona and I had built something truly special. Our relationship wasn't just based on attraction or shared interests, it was rooted in trust and transparency. We had this unspoken pact: no secrets, no hidden truths. Every vulnerability, every fear, every past mistake was laid bare between us. It was this foundation that made what came next so jarring. One evening, as we were sharing our day over text, Fiona hesitated for a moment before telling me about the main event. LOL. She showed me an email from her ex. He was reaching out, wanting to meet up and clear the air for the time he was gonna visit her city for 5 days. He used to live there before he moved and had to come back for some documents. I remember not caring much because I trusted her with all my heart. I'm telling you this because I don't want any secrets between us. I'm going to decline and block him. I nodded, appreciating her openness and thinking that was the end of it. Little did I know, the storm was just on the horizon. Days later, Fiona confessed she felt the need to meet him, to get closure and make him realize the pain he caused her. I was baffled. Why did she need his apology when she had moved on? My confusion turned to anger, and in a heated moment, I told her to go ahead if that's what she wanted. The following 5 days were an agonizing void. The silence between us was thick, almost palpable, and every passing hour felt like a weight pressing down on my chest. My mind raced with 1,000 possibilities, each more haunting than the last. Was she okay? Did she meet him? Why hadn't she reached out? On the 5th night, With a heavy heart and a whirlwind of emotions, I decided to break the silence. I sent her a simple message, hoping for some clarity. But what I received in return was a maze of deflections and half-truths. Each response from her seemed designed to shift the blame, to make me question my own feelings and memories. The term gaslighting had never felt so real. As the conversation progressed, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, each revelation more heart-wrenching than the last. She had met him. Not only that, but she had offered him a place to stay, in the very apartment I had spent days helping her find and set up. The betrayal stung, but nothing could have prepared me for the final blow. They had been intimate. The very act she had reserved for our future, for our marriage, she had given away to the man she had once described with such disdain. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. The Fiona I thought I knew, the one who spoke of purity and waiting, had gone back to the very man she had once fled from. The pain was immeasurable, and the trust we had built over the years shattered in an instant. The pain was unbearable. The betrayal, too deep. How could she do this when she claimed to love me? I contemplated revenge but realized it wasn't worth it. We parted ways, and I haven't heard from her since. Comment. Wow, that was a powerful story. I'm sorry you went through that, but you are right only. Time heals me. I'm on month number 2 and I'm barely starting to feel like my old self. Honestly, I felt like I died and came back. Just not the same person, though a little bit of me stay dead, but I'm waking up with some joy now and I'm humbled and I'm thankful for every day that I get to live. So good for you. I hope everything works out with you with your new love. When a woman who's been intimate with other men somehow magically wants to wait until marriage with you, run for the hills. We never claim to be the smartest people during these times. Op's story, in general, doesn't seem too uncommon. I sympathize with Op because the pain and betrayal can be massive. Glad you've grown from it, but it's such a difficult thing to do and at the time probably felt crushing. No point in this other than saying I've been there and not sure it will ever be totally healed. I'll tell you this man. She lied from the start. You heard her stories of this man and they were probably lies. She was always waiting on her ex. Women tend to always be a victim in almost all relationships that end. They will say their ex was abusive and mean and cheated, you get the picture. But what they don't tell you is what they did to contribute to that breakup. This dude probably wasn't as bad she made it out to be. I also don't believe she was saving herself for marriage after her ex. She may have just not been that into you. She was radio silent after it happened. Also, as a man, you need to learn the lesson that being so vulnerable with anyone can be misconstrued as being more feminine. As much as women say they like that, they don't. They want someone who they see as strong and masculine, especially if she is traditional. You talk about those feelings with your friends and family. It's that simple. Do not waste your kindness or love on someone you know who doesn't deserve it. Why do men keep being simps in this era of hoes and feminists? I just don't understand. It's not mandatory to be in a relationship. Stay single until you find the right one rather than wasting efforts on the wrong one. Never become the white knight for a girl and hope these situations will give you happiness. She will give you the least of herself and give others less deserving all of herself. These type of women are damaged and unfortunately hurt people. You're lucky it happened before y'all got married. You dodged a nuke. It really sucks now, but it's great overall for you to see who she was, because best believe she was lying to you this whole time. She just liked that comfort and safety you gave. Meanwhile, she was wishing she could make her ex have some of those qualities, so literally all he had to do was show up and give her a half apology, and she took him on her bed with no regard for you until she was done getting what she always wanted. 4 months ago I broke up with my fiancé. Similar reasons, without a man involved. Saw it coming, and nevertheless the preparation, it still brings you down hard. I hope I'll get a good woman someday, but still not out of those depths myself. I'm happy for you, but even that I can feel faintly.